Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician. Today we're going to be going into my 23 Colorado Trail Boss. I want to apologize now for any wind noise that you may hear. I forgot the little wind muffs for my microphone, so please bear with me. I'll bring you in for a close-up of everything that we go over, but today we're going to be looking at everything that I've modified or installed on the truck, as well as my thoughts, pros, cons, and any information you guys need. Please feel free to drop a comment down below. I'll also have a list of almost all of the items that I've added to the truck. And if you're looking for more in-depth details about any of these products, I have install videos on 98% of them. So it's all there for you guys if you just want to check out the channel. Most likely there's an install video. If not, feel free to ask a question and I'll do my best to answer it. So we're going to start with the rear of the truck, going through everything that I've installed or modified or anything like that. Then we'll make our way to the front of the truck, and then after that we'll move to the interior. There is quite a bit, so I'm going to do my best to move through this pretty quickly, but still provide you guys with a decent amount of information. So as far as the rear, one item you can't see and probably won't see is the third brake light, which is just like an Amazon special. 50 different brands sell the exact same third LED brake light with different names. I got that, which I take my rooftop tent down in the wintertime, so that's really the only time it's ever used. Otherwise it's covered up by my rooftop tent. Other than that, as far as reverse lights and license plate lights, those are from Last Fit, which I use Last Fit for anything that I'm replacing with LEDs unless I go with Diode Dynamics. Those are the two brands I stick with. The couple times that I've went outside of that, I haven't had good experiences, especially with the Oxalam headlights that I had on this truck. They did not perform well after just a few months. So Last Fit is what I went with, and I've always been pleased with them. I've used them on my 5 previous vehicles. And then that, moving on, besides the lights on the rear, down here I do have the Rhino USA hitch mounted shackle. As far as bed racks, I have the RCI, which I'll bring you guys in close so you guys can see all of this, but I have the RCI bed rack with the tonneau cover mount brackets that kind of gets it up out of the way. I do have the Rev tri-fold tonneau cover, which doesn't fold up, but keep in mind I use this for camping, but I also use my truck for work. For 5 days out of the week, I use it for a work truck, and I'm constantly working outside. So this kind of keeps all of my stuff secure in here. I may switch to a hard roll-up eventually, but I'm not sure. I still like how this performs, and I'm really happy with it. On the RCI bed rack, I do have some X-Bowl traction boards. I haven't had to use them yet. I'm hoping that they hold up. They're like $100 compared to your more expensive ones. So if they don't hold up the first time I need them, then I'll step it up and get some better quality ones. And then I'll show you guys on the other side, but I do have some Rotopax mounts. They're the non-locking, because the locking ones tend to freeze or rust and you can't get whatever you have on them unlocked. So I went with something called Gorilla Clamp, and that's going to allow you to put a locking mechanism or your own padlock on top, which I use all-weather locks, and they perform very well. And then I have 2 of the 2-gallon Rotopax for water. Up top here we have one of my favorite purchases, and this is the OVS 270 LTE awning. I use this all the time for camping, but mostly I use it for work because, as you can tell, I'm not exactly made for a whole lot of sunlight. But I'm constantly working outside. I work right here outside of my truck, and this thing provides a lot of shade. I can pull most vehicles in underneath of it. If I really wanted to, I could raise this thing up a little bit, but I'm happy with where it's at. This is one of my favorite purchases of all time. Then up top, the rooftop tent is the OVS Nomadic 3. They do have a larger size, but this one fits me, my wife, and my son just fine, and very good quality. I really enjoy it. OVS has performed very well for me and my needs. Then moving in here, we have some wall washer lights. Wall washer lights are actually designed for your house. You put them outside in your landscaping and you shoot them up on the side of your house to provide lighting. Well, off-road lights of this size are very expensive. These are about $100, and I have 3 of them, and they run to the inverter that I have installed in the bed of my truck. It provides plenty of lighting for camping, anything like that. So these perform very well. I'll show you a close-up of those as well. That's basically it as far as the rear exterior. We're gonna get into the bed, and then we'll get into the suspension. So moving into the bed of the truck, my storage, I keep my strap for my awning. I also keep a spigot for the roto packs, so I can just flip the roto packs and easily access the water. Then I have a few tow ropes, ratchet straps, netting, and things like that, a small air compressor. And then I do have a larger air compressor for all four when I go off-roading, but I don't carry that on me all the time. In here, it is hard to see, but I do have the Putco Molly panels. On the left side, I just have my fire extinguisher. On the right side, I have first aid kit. Then behind that, I have the e-tool that is from Rhino USA. And then behind that, as you can see back there, is my Jupiter inverter, which then over here where you would normally have your outlet, I actually have the controller. So I don't have to reach all the way in there to turn the inverter on. I can simply turn it on from right here. And what's plugged in are my wall washer lights or bed lighting, and it all runs off of that perfectly fine. I can also run my powered cooler and anything else that I want, charge batteries for work, all of that good stuff. I do also carry a couple of power stations on me as well. Once again, I'll have all of the Putco Molly panels, the first aid kit, e-tool, fire extinguisher mount, all of that will be linked down in the description. The main thing back here is gonna be my second favorite purchase. So with my whole bed rack setup, the tri-fold, all of that, even without that stuff on there, I work out of my truck and I got sick and tired of climbing in and out of my truck all day, every day. So I installed the bed slide. Which simply brings everything out to me. As you can see here, I installed a cup holder on the side so I can hold my beverage without the wind blowing it over. I just carry a lot of tools and stuff back here for work, and definitely helps. This is a great purchase, and anytime I go camping, I can simply just remove this stuff. I can strap down any containers, totes, bags, anything. It all fits nicely. It keeps it off the bed of the truck, so whatever little water does get in here, nothing gets wet, so it works very, very well. For the inside of the bed, now we'll move on to the rear suspension. So I'm not sure how well it's gonna pick it up, but as far as wheels and tires, I have the black Rhino Shoguns, and they're a -38 offset, so no spacers, they just have a negative offset, so it brings the tires out, which I personally really like the look on the Trail Boss because it's already got that wide stance look, and this just makes it a little bit more aggressive. I did forget to mention, I also run the RecGen USA mud flaps, which if you're doing any off-roading, make sure you think about what mud flaps you're going with, and if you go with something like this, keep in mind you may want to remove them before doing any medium to heavy off-roading because you will rip them off. As far as suspension, I know you can't really see it, but I have the CCE 2.1 lift, which I originally had the Rough Country, which I still have it in the front. I switched from that plastic block that comes with the Rough Country lift to the CCE shackle, which seems to do a lot better. But when I installed that, I also installed a Deaver Add-A-Leaf because I'm always carrying this much weight back here. That adds 750 pounds of capacity that I can hold with that added leaf. I have off-road bump stops. I'll try and show you guys as best as possible. I also have the Icon 2.0 10-way adjustable shocks, which has helped tremendously with the handling performance of this truck and how it carries this weight back here constantly. So big improvement with all of that. I also did leaf spring isolators because GM is very well known for leaf spring clatter or squeaking. So it's just simply a rubber material that slides between the ends of the leaf springs between each one, and it prevents them from clapping or squeaking. As far as the tires, I forgot to mention, these are the Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws, and they are a 285/70 R17. They are a 33-inch tire, and with this negative offset, that's as big as I can run without making any major cuts on the front of the truck. So I'll just quickly try and show you guys the suspension. There you can see my off-road bump stops, the Icon shocks. The Deaver Add-A-Leaf is in there. moving up front, I'm gonna quickly try and go through this so I don't turn into a lobster. I have the level up tie rod sleeves, which you can see there. Up top here we have the CCE ditch light brackets, and then I have the Diode Dynamics SS3 and SSC2 lights. Then moving down we have the AVS Aeroskin 2, which I really enjoy the look of this. This is the matte black one. I believe you can get them in chrome and gloss black, but I think this is the best looking one. I just recently added that. As far as lights, I went with Diode Dynamics, both the high and low beam as well as the turn signal. And then obviously the thing that sticks out the most on the front of this truck are the Redline tuning hood struts, which it's the little things that really matter. The fact that this truck came with a hood prop is super annoying, but these Redline hood struts, you can also get knockoffs on Amazon, I believe, but these have performed very well. I also have my winch solenoid mounted up in the engine bay, and we'll get to the big stuff here in just a second. Over here we have the 589 fog light brackets, and then I have the Diode Dynamics SSC1, and all of these lights do have two functions. It has an amber backlight and then the main light. Then up front is just the recently added 589 Mini Fighter front bumper. This is available for the Colorado and the Canyon. I don't believe they have anything for the ZR2, but absolutely fantastic, extremely heavy duty, not one of those cheap bumpers, very good quality. I have an install video on this as well. Up front we have 3 Diode Dynamics SS3 lights, the Reno red anodized aluminum tow hooks. Then in here we have the OVS Scar 10,000 pound synthetic rope winch. And then with this front bumper, it also has an integrated skid plate that lines up directly with it. So it covers it all the way back to where your factory skid plate would. The Reno tow hooks, Diode Dynamic lights, Scar winch, 589 Mini Fighter front bumper. I just love how aggressive the design of these trucks are, and I feel like everything that I've done to it has just made it look a little bit more aggressive, and I'm really liking the way the truck is turning out. As far as performance, I do have the high output tune installed. I also have the, it's not really performance, it's just a change, the Boomba blow off valve, which definitely not for everybody, but I actually really enjoy it. It's fun. I like the turbo noise of the truck. That's why I can't wait to get a few more things for the truck, which will be coming as soon as possible. But let's go ahead and dig into the interior. So I have my son's car seat, or booster seat, but the Trail Boss, I picked the Trail Boss because it was a good price for what you get. The only thing is the interior was very basic. I like the features and everything and the look and styling of the interior, but it was very basic. Everything's black and gray with the cloth seats, so I had to add a little bit of color to it, and so we reupholstered it with cat skin with a black and red leather. It's performed very well, haven't had any fading, cracking, or anything like that. Fitment is fantastic. I think it really sets off the truck. As far as floor mats, I went with the AAA liners, and I think they're one of the best fitting floor mats out there. Way, way better than WeatherTech. I do not have good experience with WeatherTech mats. Let's go ahead and move into the front. So don't mind the mess. I wasn't prepared for this. I just decided it was a good time to do it. So as far as interior, sorry, it's extremely bright. We have the cat skin seats, which I really, really enjoy them. The AAA liners, once again. Here are all my switches. These are for my fog lights, front bumper lights, outer ditch lights, inner ditch lights. That's going to be the back lights on them. Then as far as a little bit of accent coloring besides the leather interior, I did the vent rings. These are for a Camaro, but they do fit Colorados. I also did the bullet point mounting solution, which holds my phone and my GoPro. I did the Trail Boss logo on the dash, just a little bit, not too over the top, just something to kind of set off the interior from looking so bland, being all one color. And then as far as all the interior lights, they are also last fit LEDs. But that's really it as far as the interior. Sorry, the lighting isn't great. It's extremely bright out here. Hopefully the audio isn't too terrible with all the wind noise. But there are still a few things that I want to add to the truck. One being the intake, whenever somebody finally comes out with one of those. An exhaust, which there are a few brands out. I was waiting on the Gibson. I saw a video a while back. Really liked the way it sounded over the others, but of course, they're the one that hasn't released an exhaust yet, so I may be forced to pick one of the others. I really like the MagnaFlow dual exit exhaust that comes out before the rear tires, but you can't run side steps with those, unfortunately. The side steps I have are one of the only ones from GM that I actually like, but in the future I will be switching to sliders. And then the Prinsu Pro roof rack is probably one of my next big purchases. And then I may even do a rigged swing out for the rear. I haven't decided yet. Really gonna wait on that until after I get my rear bumper, and that's the next big thing. So those are some of the things that I'm gonna be adding to the truck in the near future, so stay tuned for those videos. Let's go over just a few pros and a few cons. The pros, I love this design over the second gen Colorado. I love the styling, the size, the performance. This engine puts out a lot of power, it's very, very torquey. If you're not used to a turbo engine, then it may take a little bit of getting used to, but the performance is very, very good. And the power band with the turbo is great. I really enjoy it. And then even though this truck hasn't been out a long time, the customization with some of these off-road companies, they've really been digging in and creating some really cool things like 589, DV8, many brands out there making things for this truck. But with this big change to the Colorado, I'm surprised by what is available. I'm just hoping that it continues to grow. So the customization, even a lot of this stuff isn't Colorado specific that I've added, really just the bumper, fog lights, and a couple other things. Everything else is kind of universal, and I've still been able to customize this truck exactly how I want. That's why I'm glad I went with the Trail Boss, because I saved a little bit of money and I can put my money exactly where I want it. Now, a couple of the cons is the fuel economy, not great. Did I buy this truck for fuel economy? Absolutely not. I could care less. I get roughly 14 to 18. The best I've ever seen is 22, and that was way before I did any modifications. So I don't think I'll ever see that again. I get roughly 15 with the tent on here and driving nicely, 15 to 16. With it off, I get around 16 to 18. But I really don't care. I bought it to have fun with it. I bought it to customize it and do my own thing with it, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm having fun with it. And I also use this truck 5 days out of the week for work, and it performs very well for my needs. So I don't really care about fuel economy. The other con, which really isn't a con, it's just something that you don't get with this trim level, is the front and rear lockers, which isn't bad. The G80 performs very well. And even though it doesn't have front and rear lockers, I wish it was an option, but I understand why it's just for the ZR2. I don't really have any complaints whatsoever about this truck. A lot more pros than any con that I can think of, so please let me know your guys' thoughts. Hopefully I didn't forget to mention anything. If I did, please feel free to drop a comment down below if you guys saw something that you want to know more information on. But also keep in mind, I have videos on 98% of these items installed on this truck, and I will also have a list in the description of a majority of these parts for you guys if you guys are interested. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below of your guys' thoughts. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned to the channel for more content on the Colorado. I do a lot of tool reviews as well as my 3rd gen Camaro builds. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.